Hi guys, welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today I'm just going to be talking about the Marvel films. Now when I say Marvel films, I mean all of them. I'm going to have to do a bit of prefacing with this video as well because I'm going to use a few phrases that are going to keep cropping up and I need to kind of define things before I get into this. When I say Marvel Cinematic Universe, what I mean is this series of films. It started with Iron Man in 2008 and it's kind of spilling out. There's so many of these films now. It started with Iron Man in 2008, and although my video collection, Blu-ray collection, ends with Ant-Man, the most recent film is Captain America Civil War, but that's not actually out to buy yet, so I don't own that one. But you can see here, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now what that means is, these are films that have been made by Marvel Studios themselves. So the company that made these characters, that put them into existence, also make their own films. Now, granted, Disney own Marvel Studios, but it is Marvel Studios that make these. So this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU as it's also known. Now, you might be asking, why doesn't this also include the X-Men or Spider-Man, for example? All those films, or all the other stuff that's come before as well. I mean, we've even seen the Marvel logo at the beginning of those films. We haven't seen the Marvel Studios film. Marvel Studios make these films. All those other films were made by third-party companies like 20th Century Fox. So, for example, the X-Men films, 20th Century Fox, which is all these. So this is the X-Men franchise, or X-Men universe, you could call it. So anything with mutants and so on, that's these. Now, what does that mean? Because, what does it matter who makes what? Well, the question is, what is canon, really? What are all these franchises? Why don't we see a Wolverine in a Captain America film, for example, strictly speaking, in a live action film? Reason for that is 20th Century Fox owned the film license to make the X-Men films. So if Marvel Studios wanted to put, say, Wolverine or Professor X or any other X-Men character in their Marvel Studios films with the Avengers, with Iron Man, all that stuff, 20th Century Fox could sue and win a lawsuit against Marvel Studios, because what happened is Marvel Studios sold their movie rights to 20th Century Fox quite a long time ago. And 20th Century Fox have been making a lot of money off that property as well. And they've been doing a good job as well, so fair enough that they don't want to just give the rights back to Marvel. Now this is a topic that came about because I was talking to a friend of mine online called Arif. Arif, this video is for you, mate, because we're having a bit of a conversation. So I thought it'd be easier to explain it on here and also do a video for the people to watch. The history to this, in a nutshell, because I don't want to rant on too long. Back in the 80s and 90s, Marvel Studios was in massive financial difficulties. They were facing bankruptcy. I'm not going to get into the backstory to that, but that's just the way it was. So to make money, what they did was they weren't in a position to make their own movies at that point based on these characters that they created. Just like, for example, J.K. Rowling, she created Harry Potter. But she doesn't make the movies. She's not a filmmaker. She's not a film studio. She's a person. She's an author. So she sold the rights or whatever, or did a deal with whichever studios that do the Harry Potter films. So Marvel similarly sold the rights to make movies out of various characters of theirs. They just sold them left, right, and centre, and it kind of went around the houses for years and years. Some studios acted upon those rights and made films. Other ones didn't. They just sat on them. 20th Century Fox in the year 2000 started the X-Men franchise. It did really well, and they've been making sequels ever since. Like I say, it's been making money. Fair play to them, they've done the right thing. And they've been good films as well. Sony made the Spider-Man films as of 2002 with the original trilogy with, what was his name, Tobey Maguire. I'm not a big fan of these, but that's just my opinion aside. They're okay. Very important trilogy for the genre, though, because if it wasn't for the success of these, we probably wouldn't have a lot of the films we have today. So say what you like about them. I've probably said it too. I'm not a huge fan of these, but it was an important trilogy. The success of these was really quite important. So these were Tobey Maguire ones. Sony own the rights to Spider-Man. They did back then, and they still do to this day. Which is kind of weird because we have recently seen Spider-Man cross over into the Marvel Cinematic Universe because Marvel and Sony have done a deal, basically. I'm going to get into that in a second. But yeah, so Sony made these films. Part of the deal was, from what I understand, Sony have to make Spider-Man films quite frequently in order to retain the rights. So if 5 years go by and Sony have not made a Spider-Man film, or maybe aren't in production on a Spider-Man film, they lose the rights to Spider-Man. Those rights go back to Marvel. Sony can no longer make Spider-Man movies, which would be a real kind of a real loss to them, because Spider-Man is, I think, the most popular, the most valuable money-wise superhero character, bigger than Batman and Superman, surprisingly. Apparently that's what I've heard anyway, so I don't know quite what that's based on, but there you go. So they don't want to lose the rights anyway, so they did the trilogy, 2002, the second one was 2004, the next one was 2007. The possibilities of doing a fourth film in that franchise just kind of went nowhere. Sony didn't want to lose the rights though, so 5 years went by and they just managed to scrape in a new film. They rebooted with Andrew Garfield. I personally think this is the best Spider-Man film that we've seen. I'm, again, not a massive fan of this myself, but you know, it did quite well. And some people, myself included, think it was an improvement on the previous one. But again, it's a reboot. This is in no way connected to these. It's not a sequel. You don't see any of the same actors and characters spilling over into this. It was a new franchise. A lot of people, again, like I say, said it's too soon to reboot Spider-Man since the last time. That the whole Tobey Maguire thing is still fresh in people's memories, and then they've rebooted already. They had to, because if they didn't, they were going to lose the rights. And like I say, it's a big money earner for Sony. So 2 years went past. After 2012, 2014 they did The Amazing Spider-Man. Not so amazing though, and didn't perform as well as they'd hoped. It made money. It wasn't a flop by all intents and purposes, but it didn't make as much money as they wanted it to, and as much money as a Spider-Man film really should do, especially nowadays in this climate of people just loving superhero films. So what happened was some kind of deal was made, because Marvel and Sony they do speak to each other, and Marvel basically said to Sony, I guess, your filmmaking abilities doesn't seem to be quite as successful as ours back at Marvel Studios. Look at the Avengers, look at Iron Man franchise, look at Thor, all those other ones that are beloved. Your Spider-Man films have not been as beloved, overwhelmingly. So, and a deal was made between Sony and Marvel. Sony haven't given the rights back to Marvel as such. A lot of people say, they've got the rights back. They sort of have. What's happened is Sony is going to allow Marvel Studios to make a Spider-Man film that is canon with all of their MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, which is why in the last Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Captain America Civil War, we saw Spider-Man in that film, played by a new actor, Tom Holland. Again, not a sequel to these films. This franchise with Andrew Garfield is gone. It's gone nowhere. So they've rebooted the character again, but for the better, because he was really good in this, both as Peter Parker and as Spider-Man. And I'm not a massive Spider-Man fan, really. I know he's a lot. There's a fan base out there, but I'm not really a big part of it, to be honest. But he won me over in this because I thought the character was handled really well. So it's interesting how that works with Spider-Man, because again, Sony still own the rights and still make money off it, but there's some kind of deal been done basically. I don't know the exact details, but it just basically means that Marvel Studios can make these films for now. We don't know how long this is going to go on for, but Sony's still got a stake in that as well, because like I say, their ability to make Spider-Man movies has really been in question in the last few years. So that's pretty much it for those anyway. Like I say, these studios, you might say, well, why is it important who owns what? Well, it's important if you want to know why we don't see certain characters on screen together, and if you want to know what is canon. Because again, like I said, I was talking to Arif, the guy who prompted this video, and I was like trying to explain. I thought it's a lot easier to explain if I do a video, because it's so complicated. I mean, I've barely scratched the surface here, and I've probably not done a very good job of explaining it. There's plenty of other film characters, Marvel characters anyway, that they've done films with. There's like The Punisher, for example. Those films going from, I think it was like 1990 when they did those, and the last one was in 2008. None of these films are canon with each other. They're not sequels. They're pretty much rebooted from each installment onwards. The Blade trilogy, that was a pretty solid trilogy, as in it was all connected, with the same actors recurring. Blade Trinity wasn't as good as the first two. It had its moments, but anyway, side issue. Daredevil with Ben Affleck with its own film. It didn't link in with anything else at all at the time, and it wasn't all that great either. Daredevil, the rights to Daredevil in recent years went back to Marvel Studios because 20th Century Fox did nothing with this franchise after this film came out. It was a dead franchise until the rights went back to Marvel Studios. But Marvel Studios didn't want to make a film of Daredevil. They had plenty of other stuff on their plate. So what they did was they've set up the TV side of things. So Netflix at the moment and ABC, I think it is, working together to do Netflix original TV shows with Daredevil. And I seriously recommend watching them because I am not usually a fan of TV superhero programs. I don't watch Gotham, I don't watch Green Arrow or Supergirl or any of that stuff. Not because I'm a DC hater, I like a lot of DC stuff, that's a side issue. But I'm not a big fan of TV superheroes, basically. Not a big fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I watch it. But Daredevil, Netflix, amazing. Jessica Jones, the same as well. And those shows are actually canon with the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well, which I don't really want to get into because that's the TV side, how that links is another complication, another layer of things I don't want to complicate this video with. I've already made a mess of it anyway by trying to explain it. It's a very complicated situation, really, to kind of get into, but I hope that makes sense anyway. So, of all the different franchises you've got out there, you've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like I say, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, the Avengers, and then Ant-Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy and loads of other characters, all combined. If you've seen them on screen together, those are your Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Then you've got the X-Men movies, which is 20th Century Fox. That's its own self-contained thing. It's all canon within itself. So Deadpool and any X-Men films you've got, any Wolverine films, they're self-contained. They don't cross over. You've got those older Spider-Man films. You can pretty much forget about them. They're dead. They don't cross over with anything else. And then, like I say, the new Spider-Man film, anything with Tom Holland as Spider-Man, does connect to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's still got the Sony ownership to the rights. But again, Spider-Man now is pretty much part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's why they've called this film Homecoming, because in America, Homecoming, it's a whole school thing. You've got like different eras of school years in America. It's very different to what we've got in the UK. But it's kind of a double meaning because you've also got Homecoming, Spider-Man has come home to Marvel, where he belongs, I guess, because like I said, they're doing a good job with him as well. And, in a way, rightly so, because Marvel Studios created the character. Marvel created the character. Marvel Studios should be the ones making their films. Ideally, anyways. Just for sentimental reasons, basically. Like I say, 20th Century Fox own the rights to the Marvel franchise. To the X-Men franchise. 20th Century Fox own the rights to the X-Men franchise. But the difference is with that, they've been doing a really good job. So nobody's crying about, give the X-Men rights back to Marvel kind of thing. Fantastic Four, on the other hand, failed attempt. 20th Century Fox own the rights to the Fantastic Four, but they've just had failed attempt after failed attempt with that franchise. Just leave it alone. People have been saying give the rights back to Marvel for the Fantastic Four. That's a whole nother topic. Again, I don't really get into that, but not for this video anyway. I could do it in a future video. But I'm going to leave it there because it's so complicated and only a geek could really rant about this and get as excited about it as me. So I just find it really fascinating, the history to this. And like I say, I've barely scratched the surface. I know there's a lot more to this. I was going to mention why Marvel Studios were in such financial difficulties back in the 80s and 90s. But again, I've done it elsewhere. I did a video back in beginning of 2015 where I was talking about this. But a lot of that information is out of date now because things have happened, like I say. Sony have done deals with Marvel now to have Spider-Man back in their franchise. So if you go back and watch my video 18 months ago, I was saying, nope, Spider-Man is not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He never will be, There's talks about it, but it won't happen because, Sony don't want to give up the rights. But things change, so there you go. They ended up doing a deal, and now Spider-Man's back home again. Anyway, I'm kind of going around in circles actually, so definitely got to end this video. So that's pretty much it. Arif, thanks a lot for the inspiration for coming up with the idea for this video, even though it was kind of my idea after we were talking. But hey, you know, that was our conversation there. So any other requests for mailbag videos, if you want to hear me ranting incoherently again on video, send in a request on either the Facebook page or somewhere else on our social media where you can follow us. Just send a message. Now, there's some information coming up on how you can follow us on social media. I'd recommend Facebook rather than anything like Twitter, which we don't really use all that much. There's a website, brandxreviews.com. I don't really update as much. I only put the videos really on there nowadays, these videos. I don't really post as much news on there. We're on Instagram as well. We get the occasional update on there, but Facebook is really the place to be for Brandex Reviews because we get a lot of news as it comes in on there. So I recommend that's where you follow us basically. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just so you know, for more news, reviews and retrospectives, you can like our page on Facebook, simply called Brandex Reviews. But as well as that, you can also subscribe to us on YouTube via this video. You can also bookmark our website, which is brandxreviews.com, which is pretty much a central hub for everything that I've just mentioned. So check that out and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.